अब देखेंगे कि कैसे नेशनलिज्म यूरोप में फैला, दैट इज द मेकिंग ऑफ नेशनलिज्म इन यूरोप। तो सबसे पहले देखेंगे कि यूरोप के अंदर डाइवर्स किंगडम्स इन यूरोप। तो यूरोपियन के जो देश थे आज जो है वो उस समय देश नहीं हुआ करते थे। ज़्यादातर देशों में कई सारे प्रोविंस या स्टेट्स हुए, यानी डिवाइडेड इनटू डिफरेंट डिफरेंट पार्ट्स, राइट। तो कंट्रीज जो आज जर्मनी, इटली, स्विट्ज़रलैंड, ये सभी देश जो थे वो कई सारे स्टेट्स में, किंगडम्स में या प्रोविंस में डिवाइडेड। जैसे मैंने भारत की बात की कि इंडिया वॉज डिवाइडेड इनटू मोर देन 500 प्लस प्रोविंसेस, बट आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल ने इन सभी प्रोविंसेस को एक किया और इंडियन यूनियन बनाया, अखंड भारत की रचना की। मोनार्की इन द ईस्टर्न एंड सेंट्रल यूरोप विथ ह्यूज डाइवर्सिटी। तो जो राजा या जो किंगडम्स सेंट्रल यूरोप में और ईस्टर्न यूरोप में रूल करते थे, इनमें बहुत ही बड़ा डिफरेंस देखने को मिलता था। हमारे देश की ही हम चर्चा कर लें तो मुगल्स के नियम कायदे कानून कुछ और थे, मराठास के कुछ और थे, राजपूत्स के कुछ और थे, साउथ में देखें तो चोलास, चेरास, पंड्यास, राष्ट्रकूटा, इनका कुछ और थे। तो हर एक राजा या साम्राज्य के अपनी खुद के नियम कायदे कानून हुआ करते थे, जबकि एक ही देश को बिलोंग करते थे, पर उस समय वो सब अपने आप को अलग समझते थे। तो इन सब को एक साथ लाना एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है। तो इसीलिए नो कलेक्टिव आइडेंटिटी और कॉमन कल्चर, इनमें कोई समानता देखने को नहीं मिलती। वो सब अपने आप को विभिन्न, अलग मानते एक दूसरे से। और ये कॉमन है, आज भी हम देखें तो हम तो मैं केवा हूँ पटेल, हूँ लुहाणा, हूँ ब्राह्मण, हूँ आहिर, हूँ राजपूत। कोई नहीं बोलता मैं भारतीय हूँ, पहले ही हमारी कास्ट कम्युनिटी आ जाती है। आपने मूवी चक दे इंडिया में भी देखा है कि जब कोच शाहरुख खान बोलता है सभी अपना नाम और अपने इंट्रो देंगे, तो नाम लेकर डिफरेंट डिफरेंट स्टेट की बात करते हैं। उसमें सिर्फ एक ही व्यक्ति बोलता है आई एम सो एंड सो इंडिया। जब तक वो देशभक्ति की भावना नहीं आती है तब तक हम एक दूसरे से सहयोग नहीं करते, कोऑपरेट नहीं करते और एक दूसरे से जो है टच में नहीं आते, तो फीलिंग नहीं आती है वी आर वन। और इसीलिए तो अंग्रेजों ने हमारे ऊपर 200 साल जैसा रूल किया, क्योंकि अंग्रेजों को पता था ये खुद एक दूसरे से बैन, तो हमें इनका ही फायदा लेना है। वही उन्होंने किया, डिवाइड एंड रूल। स्पोक डिफरेंट लैंग्वेजेस, तो हर एक किंगडम की, हर एक एम्पायर की अपनी अपनी भाषा होती थी। इवन एम्पायर के अंदर अलग अलग पार्ट में अलग अलग भाषाएं बोली जाती थी, तो उनमें भी यूनिटी नहीं थी। जहाँ यूनिटी नहीं होती है तो उसको डिवाइड करना, तोड़ना बहुत ही सरल है, बहुत ही आसान है। बिलोंग टू डिफरेंट एथनिक ग्रुप, जैसा हमने बेल्जियम में देखा था कि हम डच, हम फ्रेंच, हम जर्मन, तो यहाँ पे भी जो है हर एक किंगडम अलग अलग एथनिक ग्रुप को बिलोंग करता था। और जहाँ जितनी डाइवर्सिटी उतनी ही समस्याएं और उतनी ही आसानी से हम उनमें तोड़ सकते। एग्जाम्पल, हैब्सबर्ग एम्पायर की बात करें तो हैब्सबर्ग एम्पायर जो है बहुत बड़ा साम्राज्य था, बट इसके नीचे बहुत सारी कंट्रीज हुआ करती थी और हर एक कंट्री की अपनी लैंग्वेज, कल्चर, हिस्ट्री, सब एक साथ हो ये तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है। तो हैब्सबर्ग एम्पायर रूल्ड ओवर ऑस्ट्रिया एंड हंगरी, ये मिलाकर इनके ऊपर रूल करता था, बट इनके ही अलग अलग नियम, कायदे, कानून, कल्चर, हिस्ट्री सब हुआ करता था। तो उसी से रिलेटेड एक क्वेश्चन आता है आपका 3 मार्क्स का। द हब्सबर्ग एम्पायर रूल्ड ओवर ऑस्ट्रिया एंड हंगरी और इट वाज अ पैचवर्क ऑफ डिफरेंट कल्चर। कैसे, वो देख लें। तो हब्सबर्ग का एक पार्ट जिसे अल्पाइन रीजन कहा जाता था, तो अल्पाइन रीजन में कौन कौन से प्लेसेस आती थी? तो टायरोल, ऑस्ट्रिया, सोटनलैंड, बोहेमिया, राइट। ये सभी प्लेसेस, सभी स्टेट्स इसका पार्ट हुए थे, किसके? अल्पाइन रीजन के। और ये सब हाई क्लास, जिसे हम एरिस्टोक्रेसी कहते हैं, ये पब्लिक ज़्यादातर इन रीजन्स में रहती थी और जर्मन भाषा बोलती थी। दूसरा देखें तो लोम्बार्डी एंड वेनेशिया, ये वो एरिया था जहां अगेन हमारी एरिस्टोक्रेसी के लोग ज़्यादातर रहते थे और इटालियन लैंग्वेज का इस्तेमाल करते थे आपस में डिप्लोमेटिक अलायंस के लिए या बातचीत के लिए। तीसरा हंगेरी। तो हंगेरी की अगर हम बात करें तो 50% जो पब्लिक थी वो मगियार बोलती थी, मगियार भाषा का इस्तेमाल करती थी, और बाकी की 50% जो है वो अलग अलग भाषा बोलती थी। अब कैसे यहाँ यूनिटी ला सकते हो कि वी आर हंगेरियंस? बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट है। ग्लेशिया की बात करें तो यहाँ के जो लोग थे वो ज़्यादातर पोलिश लैंग्वेज का इस्तेमाल करते थे, और ये भी जो हमारे लिमिटेड रिच सेक्शन एरिस्टोक्रेसी को बिलोंग करते थे। पर पूरे हैब्सबर्ग की ज़्यादातर अगर हम प्रजा कहें, मैक्सिमम पॉपुलेशन, वो बिलोंग करती थी पीजेंट्स को, स्मॉल एंड पुअर पीजेंट्स, जो ज़्यादातर किन एरियाज में रहते थे? तो नॉर्दर्न पार्ट। तो नॉर्दर्न पार्ट में कौन से रहते थे? बोहेमियंस एंड स्लोवाक्स। ये लोग ज़्यादातर हमें नॉर्दर्न पार्ट ऑफ हैब्सबर्ग एम्पायर में देखने को मिलते थे। कार्नियोला, उस एरिया में स्लोवेंस का ज़्यादातर पॉपुलेशन होती थी। साउथ पार्ट में देखें तो क्रोट्स के लोग रहते थे। ईस्ट पार्ट में देखें तो रोमन्स इन ट्रांसिल्वेनिया, इन लोगों का रहवास ज़्यादा था, और ये सब वर पीसेंट्स थे। फिर भी ये एक साथ रहते थे, और इनके एक साथ रहने का सिर्फ एक ही कारण था, इतनी डाइवर्सिटी भी होने के बावजूद भी ये सब एक साथ रहते थे बिना कोई किसी प्रकार की डिस्प्यूट के। और उसका सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक कारण हम जो कहेंगे वो है अलायंस। दे वर अलायंस टू द एम्परर, हम राजा को समर्पित हैं, हमारे राजा को। तू क्या है, क्या करता है, मुझे लेना नहीं। बिकॉज ऑफ हिम हमारे बीच में कोई झगड़ा नहीं है, और होगा तो उसे हम शांतिपूर्वक सुलह करेंगे, ना के लड़कर। Now we move to the next topic, the aristocracy and the new middle class. When we talk about the aristocracy, how they were quite powerful, how they maintained this supremacy, right? So though they constituted a very small part of population, but still they created a great dominance in the society, right? So though they were small in number, in proportion, but aristocrat enjoyed huge power in the society. They dominated the society with their power. Generally in the society, among the aristocrat, they used to speak French language for diplomatic work or diplomatic alliance. Generally, they maintained their supremacy with the help of marriage. That is how generally we see in our society. A rich family always looks for a family which is parallel to them or maybe even more powerful to them. Thus, their bonding, their power keeps on increasing. Like, just like as we see in our society, a girl's father always search for a family where the daughter can be very happy. She does not have to do much household work, having so many servants to carry each and every household activity, and she has to just observe the household work. It means a luxurious and a lavish life. So this is how even these aristocrats, they were connected with each other. The same thing we see in the history during the reign or the rule of Akbar. Even Akbar knew that Rajputs are very powerful, and making them as their enemy was something not a wise decision. That's why even during his rule, Akbar started this marriage alliance. He or his nobles or the ministers, they used to, or family members, they used to get married to Rajputs. And because of that, the Rajputs, almost we have seen most of the Rajputs, they become friends. So, defeating them without war, making them your friend. Ultimately, even Mughals had a great influence in the Rajputanas. This is how they lead the life. Talking about the property, as even in the France we have seen, okay, most of the property was in the hand of the upper class, that is first estate and second estate. So here also most of the property they were having with them. They used to own estate in the countryside and even the town houses, right? So property wise they were quite rich, having lots of property which them both in the town, city and even in the villages too. The other part of the population we call them as the common man. So majority of the population belonged to peasant, farmer. These peasants, they worked as a tenant or farm laborer, right? And normally they used to have very small land holdings with them. Even we have learned last year in France, that is French Revolution also, and even in economics chapter number 1, the story of the village Palampur. In both the chapters we have seen how the small farmers, they had very little land holding with them. Or even they did not had land holding, so they have to work as a farm laborer, what we have learned as serfdom. So they had to work as a farm laborer on rich farmers' land. So this was the situation in the western part of Europe. Serfs, right, as I discussed with you, serfdom was practiced in eastern and central part of the Europe. That is, these small farmers, they have to work on the field of the landlords or the big farmers. So rarely they had a good life. They were exploited. They have to pay huge amount of rent for that. this was somewhat, we can say, the society during this time. Further we move to Western and Central Europe. So if we see, so generally the industrialization which took place in England during 1750. So this specially took place in Western and Central Europe, and its effect or influence was generally to great extent in this part for a long period. Because of the industrialization, a commercial educated middle class or educated middle elite group emerged, as we have learned in grade 9 French Revolution. So middle class included businessmen, traders, doctors, lawyers, teachers, right? These were the people who were quite educated, and because of their education and their skill, even they became rich. So they had property, power, plus education both. So that led to the emergence of commercial classes. Now industrialization reached France and Germany in the first half of the 19th century, means quite late we can say, compared to, means it started in England during 1750, but it took almost another 150 years to reach to France and Germany. So comparatively slow. So because of this industrialization, as I said, emergence of new middle class took place in Europe. This emergence of middle class, as I said and I discussed, normally comprised of educated and liberals, what I said, teachers, doctors, lawyers, merchants. These were the group of people who consisted of this group. And now what they wanted, because they were quite aware, they knew, right, okay, what was going on in France and in other part of Europe, it was not in the favor of the society and in the favor of the common people. So they wanted to bring end to the privileges that was enjoyed by the aristocracy, that is, the nobilities and the clergies. So everyone will be equal in the eyes of the law. All the citizens of the country will be equal, irrespective whether you belong to which class. It means everyone has to pay the tax. Everyone will enjoy right to speech, right to press. That's what this means. It means the aristocracy will not have any special treatment after this. Liberal nationalism. So now we are going to talk about how liberal brought nationalism, and in politics. Politically, what was the role played by them in political sphere or political area. So liberals ideology means national unity. Okay, everyone should be united. There should be no discrimination, or political rights should not be limited to few. It should reach to everyone. That's why we have freedom to all. Equality of all before law, government by consent. And this is possible when the people have suffrage right. Okay, every person who is whatever the age criteria is decided. So if I am not wrong, in Europe it was 21 years. So all the male members who are 21 year and above, right, irrespective whether they have property or they don't have the property, they will have right to vote. So then only that freedom will come. They will be equal in the eyes of the law, and they will form a government of their choice. It means they will elect their rulers. They will have right to control their rulers. If these rulers are not working properly in the development of the society for the welfare of the people, they can throw them in the next election. So, if these are granted, it's quite obvious it will bring an end to all the privileges that was enjoyed by the aristocrats in the society. They will no more enjoy any special privileges. It means right to property will be given to people. Means government cannot confiscate the property of the citizen. If they possess any property, it can be sold by them, but forcefully it cannot be taken by any individual, agency or government. So as I discussed with you, suffrage, it means every person of whatever the age criteria is decided, they will enjoy right to vote. Then property owning man. So those who were having the property, they will have right to vote and elect their representative, as I discussed previously. So because of this, Jacobin clubs were formed, and finally Jacobin ruled. Right? What was the rule of the Jacobin? All the men voted. Means every person who is 21 years and above will have right to vote. Still, women did not possess political right, that is what right to vote, because they were considered as minor, and they were dependent on their father and later on their husband. So whatever they will have, they can enjoy the right. So till women are with the parents, so authority of the father will be there, and later when they are married, the authority of husband, means they have to listen and follow all the terms and conditions of the male in the society. These also continued even during the Napoleon time. So it's quite obvious, if we do not get our rights, duties, right, but always everyone is going to fight for their rights. And same thing happened here also. The women's revolution began in Europe. We have seen in France also, they fought for their political right. And after 100 years of independence of France, finally the woman got suffrage right, what we have learned.